Hello, everybody. My name is John Rairdin, and I am joined today by Andrew Brown.
Howdy.
And today we are going to talk about The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D, which was announced recently for the 3DS.
Oh, and it looks amazing.
It looks fantastic. I will let you go ahead and start things off.
Sure. This is basically something that fans have been clamoring for since Ocarina of Time 3D, which was, I believe it was a year and a half ago now.
Yeah, it was pretty close to the launch of the 3DS.
Yeah, this is for many people one of the best Zelda games of all time. For the two of us, I know we adore this game ourselves. For me, it's one of my top 3 Zelda games in the series.
I would put it in that same spot.
Yeah, I myself have been looking forward to this since Ocarina, thinking about the sort of things that they could improve in the game if they were to do a 3D version of the game. With the updated menu system that Ocarina implemented, the extra content, I'm wondering if there's going to be like a hero mode implemented in this game.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, we never did get. Prior to Ocarina of Time 3D, we did have the Master Quest version of Ocarina of Time, but they've never really gone back and revisited Majora's Mask. The only re-release we got was on that GameCube Collector's Edition, and that was a notoriously bad port.
That was full of the crashes, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we can go ahead and talk about sort of some of the things that we are looking forward to revisiting in this well-deserved remake.
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of the most noteworthy things about the remake of Ocarina was how, even though it was the same soundtrack, the same world, they didn't add any like additional extra areas per se. Mm-hmm. All the texture maps, all the character models had an increased polygon count. Everything looked so much more like the original concept art that was behind the original version of the game. It was done in such a smooth way that you would swear that's the way that Ocarina originally was all this time. It just felt so natural, but at the same time it just looks so much better.
Exactly. It felt like there's really no question that, the 3DS version is pretty much the definitive version of Ocarina of Time, because it didn't lose anything, and like you said, I really appreciated that they, rather than trying to spruce up the graphics as they were, they went back to where those graphics originally came from in the concept art, and went from that, and so it looks more like Ocarina of Time than the original did.
I would agree with that, absolutely. I also like that they gussied up some of the areas without actually greatly changing them. They added new elements, like inside houses there were shelves with new like trinkets sitting on them, that sort of thing. It looks like this design choice or design upgrade has carried over into Majora's Mask.
Well, we noted when I was trying to find all of the locations to do the comparison trailer, that very first shot panning down from the ceiling in what wound up being the sword training area of Clocktown.
The dojo.
Yeah. Looking at that shot, I wasn't quite sure what it was, and then it was you who pointed out, the tip of the sword and the top of the clock, and we then realized that they had built up the building from what it originally was in the original game.
Yeah, it carries over in from the like design changes in, say, the Bombchu shop in Ocarina 3D, where the original version looked pretty much like a shanty with some old dude selling bombs or Bombchus, and suddenly it's this really suave-looking cafe-type store.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to a few neat little surprises like that, and another thing from Ocarina was that there's additions of posters that were like strewn about, all these extra little elements, like walking around Kakariko Village, and you could see like little references to other areas in the game, little like shop advertisements, and you're like, oh yeah, that's in reference to that people who hadn't played the game before wouldn't get, but it's a nice little nod for Zelda fans to pick up on.
Sure, and there was it was in Ocarina of Time 3D. They had the one of the posters that you would see in the shops was a picture of Link from Skyward Sword.
Oh yeah, and that was also in the Gerudo Fortress, I believe, hidden behind a crate. There was something else about. Yeah. I wonder if there's going to be any hidden Wii U Zelda nods coming up.
So one thing I did hear, they have been working on this game. Anuma came out and said they've been working on this game since Ocarina of Time was released. So they have been working on this game completely under wraps. I mean, obviously we all knew it was coming, but really hadn't heard anything about it for years now.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think is awesome about that is the original Majora's Mask, while conceptually it's really cool, there are, some areas where you can definitely tell that it was made by a very small team over a very short period of time. Areas where it could sort of be refined.
Yeah.
And so, like, the one that I thought of was the boss fight with Georg, the underwater fish thing in the Great Bay Temple. That is just a ridiculously frustrating boss fight that could definitely stand to sort of be looked over.
It was mainly just issues with the Zora boomerang control scheme, if I remember.
Yep, yeah, it was just impossible to get to him
to
in
tell
time.
Where it is.
Yeah, and you couldn't see him because the camera was bad, and yeah. So there are things like that where I'm sure had Majora's Mask had a longer development time, those things would have gotten ironed out. But as it was, the game sort of just had to come out. So I see this as an opportunity for them to really give that game the polish that it deserves.
Yeah, I am definitely looking forward to little tweaks that Ocarina had, like the gussied up menu spaces where you could easily tap on the Ocarina to quickly bring that out, and it wouldn't have to affect your inventory. I'm looking forward to possibly a new mask management system.
Yeah. In
the bottom screen.
Yeah.
I can only imagine as to how they've developed it, since it doesn't appear in the trailer so far.
Yeah. Somebody pointed out to me that in the trailer, even the little bits of gameplay they showed, there's no clock on the screen. So I'm assuming at least that will be on the bottom screen.
Yeah, I would say so. Though it could still be that it's not entirely finished. I did notice some of the imagery from what used to be cutscenes with dialogue going along, and those voice boxes were missing, or perhaps they just used it for effect.
Sure, they may have just kind of gotten rid of the HUD to make it a bit more cinematic for the trailer.
Yeah. In regards to the original game, are there any particular moments that you particularly fondly remember, or that you're greatly looking forward to re-experiencing with the new graphical update?
There are a lot of, the thing that made Majora's Mask for me, and I think for a lot of people, was all of the side quests and how incredibly deep every single character in Clocktown's story was. Like, you could literally just follow around any person and they had a story that would unfold. And so I think just being able to go back and appreciate some of those, obviously there's the Anju and Cafe one that everybody loves. There's also one of the ones that always I found really haunting playing this game as a kid. It's in Ikana Valley, the Gibdo house.
Yeah, the little girl.
Yeah, with the little girl who is protecting her dad from the Gibdos, and then after you save him, she won't talk about it because she's afraid that he'll get interested in researching it again and it'll happen. I don't know. I found those characters to be so rich compared to anything else that was really in video games at the time, and just really kind of hauntingly creepy and sad. I don't know.
Oh, the whole game has certainly has a vibe going on with creepy and sad.
Yeah. In
regards to everything, I remember reading about the design choice about it was representing the 7 stages of grief, or whatever it was. Yeah, that was really interesting, especially since it was essentially a fan theory that, if I recall, they went back and they said, well, yeah, that was the intent.
Yeah, I've heard the theory that the entire game, Link is dead for the entire game, and it's him coming to terms with his own death.
Yeah.
And it's like, those things would sound crazy in any other game, but in Majora's Mask, you kind of say to yourself, yeah, that could be true.
Yeah, funny you mentioned earlier about every character having their own set schedule and set timeline that they follow over the course of the 3 days. It looks like it's something that they've attempted to at least recreate in further Zelda titles down the line, especially with like Windfall Island in Wind Waker,
Yeah.
where it's sort of the same thing, but it doesn't quite encapture that same little working world thing that Majora's Mask did so perfectly.
Since it had that short time window that it had to fill, you could have them doing different things every day, and really just going through an entire story and not just, they go outside at night and they go inside at daytime.
Yeah, they all have their own little activities that they do, and you can learn to follow them along in such a way that the whole game is so diverse as well. One of my main observations when I played it originally was that every dungeon felt like a different Zelda game. Playing, say, the Great Bay Temple, and then by that point the story's changed in such a way that you've almost forgotten what happened in the previous two dungeons before then. And then going back and replaying the game, it's all so nostalgic and like, oh yeah, that happened as well. I'd completely forgotten about that.
It's a very, for a game that really only has 4 dungeons, it is incredibly dense with story
Yes.
and events. It feels like an incredibly long Zelda game, despite, I guess, it technically being pretty short.
Any strange theories or absurd notions as to changes you think might occur within this remake of the game?
If I could just have them do anything, I guess I would love to see them maybe even add a couple new side quests. I know that's probably outside the realm of possibility, but it would just be really cool to add something in there for the people who have gone through Majora's Mask a few times. Just something new that we haven't seen before would be awesome.
Even a hero mode like Ocarina had.
Yeah, just change things up, change people's schedules around. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I wonder if they ever considered the possibility of, say, like, remember the Chris Houlihan room in Link to the Past?
Mm-hmm.
They had maybe an obligatory Ben reference hidden in the game somewhere like that.
Sure. Well, I mean, he did show up in the trailer. I'm sure Nintendo is aware of how notorious Majora's Mask is for just its creepiness, because it's such a weird game.
Bizarro Zelda. What was your favorite dungeon, out of curiosity?
The Ikana Valley one.
Stone Temple?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same.
But really anything but Great Bay, which was just the most frustrating thing in the world.
Water Temple 2.0.
Oh, yeah.
For those who haven't played the original version of the game, we won't go into too many spoilers, but that fourth dungeon in Ikana Valley has such an unexpected and incredibly cool twist. It's unlike anything in any other Zelda game I've played. Did you have any favorite moments outside of dungeons that, any particularly favorite characters or little hidden side quests or anything like that really stood out in your memory?
The one other side quest that, like the Ikana Valley thing, kind of just creeped me out when I was little. Once you can go outside of Clocktown, going out there at night and the weird dancing guy on top of one of those stone mushroom things.
Oh, right.
And you can, like, you don't even see him at first, you just hear this really haunting music, and then you just walk over there and kind of see this ghostly guy in the distance dancing on top of this thing.
He just sort of, like, appears at night, doesn't he?
Yeah, and it's so creeped me out so bad when I was a kid.
Speaking of creepiness, the moon looks fantastic. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
It's had a bit of a nose job, but so for me, one of the best memories I have is the Great Bay Skulltula house. I think that was my favorite little mini optional quest. It wasn't even really a side quest. Did you get one of the masks, if I remember?
I don't remember.
There was a really good prize, but
yeah, I had completely forgot about that until I went back to get footage for this trailer, and I came across it, and I had completely forgot that he was even there. Once again, the game is just so dense, you can completely forget about side quests. Okay, guys, that is all the time we have for today. Thanks, Andrew, for geeking out with me.
Yeah, you're welcome. I can't wait for the game. I'll buy it in droves. I'll get a copy for all my friends.
And you guys have in Australia, you have the new 3DS early, don't you?
Yes, it's coming out within the next couple of weeks, I believe, and we may even be getting the European version. I still need to confirm that. There's a limited edition coming to
I've
PAL
seen
regions.
it. Yeah, with like the metal case.
A metal case. It's got a poster included.
Okay, I'm done talking to you because you're making me jealous. So,
all right then.
I will talk to you later. Thanks for joining me.
Ciao, guys.
All right, bye.